A massive crimson arc roared through the air like a fire dragon, appearing directly before Lin Dong in the blink of an eye. The searing energy radiating from it instantly scorched his skin, making it burn uncomfortably hot. Lin Dong's eyes locked onto the crimson streak, his grip tightening around the silver rune in his hand, which he immediately hurled forward. Buzz! The moment the silver rune left his hand, it erupted with blinding silver light. The entire Thunder Realm trembled as countless bolts of towering lightning ripped through the void, gathering right in front of Lin Dong. Boom! The lightning surged forward, intertwining into the form of colossal thunder dragons, creating an impenetrable barrier. Just as the crackling thunder took shape, the blazing crimson arc crashed violently into the defensive wall of lightning. A deafening explosion tore through the air. Waves of power, formed from the collision of flame and thunder, spread outward in a chaotic blast, sweeping across the battlefield for thousands of feet. So, it was this little one who found the key. The Thunder Emperor observed the clash with mild surprise, though a strange expression lingered on his face. As the creator of the Thunder Realm, he was naturally aware when someone tapped into its power, and Lin Dong's use of it hadn't escaped his notice. Mo Luo, standing nearby, also narrowed his eyes in concentration. He had clearly sensed the immense power Lin Dong had just summoned, far beyond what Mo Luo himself could normally control. Thunder and flame intertwined, crackling and burning for a moment before gradually dispersing. When the chaotic energies finally settled, Lin Dong's figure reappeared in the gaze of Mu Lingshan and the others. Although Lin Dong was battered, his body bloodied and his appearance disheveled, it was clear that Mo Luo's earlier, more devastating strike had not seriously harmed him. Hovering in the air before Lin Dong, the silver rune pulsed faintly, releasing strange waves of energy that resonated continuously with the Thunder Realm. So, it was the power of the Thunder Realm, Mo Luo muttered, his eyes narrowing as he looked at the silver rune. Realization dawned on him, and he turned toward the Thunder Emperor with a frown. Haha, don't blame me, the Thunder Emperor chuckled with a hint of schadenfreude. The boy just had some lucky timing and got hold of the Thunder Realm's key. In the distance, Lin Dong cast a grateful glance toward the Thunder Emperor. Without the silver rune's activation of the Thunder Realm's power, there was no way he could have blocked Mo Luo's second assault. Crack. Suddenly, cracks spread across the surface of the silver rune, accompanied by a sharp, snapping sound. In the next instant, the rune shattered into fragments, scattering into nothingness. Lin Dong's expression darkened the moment the rune broke apart. The power of the Thunder Realm isn't as limitless as you thought, the Thunder Emperor said with a shrug, seemingly unsurprised. Mo Luo was once my equal. Just holding off one of his attacks with that power was already the most you could hope for. Lin Dong could only let out a bitter laugh in response. It was clear that relying on the Thunder Realm's power to counter Mo Luo was no simple task. Could the strength of a revolution stage master, who wielded the authority of an ancestral talisman, really be this overwhelming? Mo Luo's gaze sharpened as he fixed his eyes on Lin Dong. Are you ready for the third strike? He asked, though his tone was now slightly softer. The failure of his first two attacks had left him more wary than before. Lin Dong wiped the blood from his face and smiled, though it was a stubborn grin. There's no turning back now. You've already lost your 3 divine artifacts, and the Thunder Realm's key has shattered. Do you really think it's worth taking my third attack? Mo Luo asked in a low voice, as if giving Lin Dong one last chance to back down. Senior Mo Luo, please, make your move, Lin Dong replied, his gaze unwavering and voice resolute. There wasn't the slightest hint of retreat in his words. Mo Luo stared at the young man in silence for a moment. His brief hesitation quickly gave way to cold indifference. With a slow nod, he said, as I said before, I will not hold back. As his words fell, a wave of scorching crimson flame erupted from Mo Luo's body, instantly distorting the surrounding space with its overwhelming heat. The power of the flame ancestral talisman? Isn't that going too far? How can this boy possibly survive an attack of that magnitude? The Thunder Emperor frowned deeply, his voice turning stern. I will protect his essence spirit, Mo Luo replied calmly. He raised a hand, and the torrential flames converged above him, forming a burning sun that floated ominously in the sky. Lin Dong, if you regret it now, you still have time to stop this, Mo Luo said, his hands behind his back, watching the young man with a detached gaze. Lin Dong grinned and shook his head, slow but firm. Mo Luo let out a soft sigh at the boy's stubbornness. But then, his eyes turned cold. With a sudden burst of power, the burning sun shot forward, roaring through the air. Boom, boom, boom. Wherever the burning sun passed, the powerful lightning energy that filled the thunder realm shattered and collapsed, unable to withstand the ferocity of the flame. Lin Dong lifted his head, gazing at the blazing sun, surging towards him with terrifying power. The primordial energy within his body seemed to ignite at that very moment. The scorching sun drew closer in an instant. Without any visible defense from Lin Dong, the flames erupted, consuming him whole. Boom, boom. A massive fireball, tens of thousands of feet wide, expanded outward. The surrounding space transformed into a sea of fire, and under its intense heat, the very air appeared to warp and twist. You really went too far. Thunder Emperor frowned, staring at the fiery sea that engulfed the distant sky. You bastard! Not far away, Mu Lingshan saw the scene, her eyes instantly reddening. Grabbing the life and death coffin lid, she charged toward Mo Luo with fierce determination. Mo Luo waved his sleeve, and a fiery red barrier enveloped Mu Lingshan. No matter how hard she struck, she couldn't break through it. It should be over now. I'll retrieve his essence spirit, and as for his physical body, we can take it back to the flame pool at my flame deity palace to restore it, Mo Luo said calmly. His gaze shifted towards the sea of fire, preparing to extract Lin Dong's essence spirit. Huh. Just as Mo Luo was about to act, the Thunder Emperor suddenly made a noise of surprise, his eyes locking onto the center of the fire. At the same moment, Mo Luo sensed something as well, disbelief flickering in his eyes. Impossible. Mo Luo's murmured disbelief hung in the air as a slim figure gradually emerged from the sea of fire. Step by step, that figure walked out, completely unharmed by the flames that could turn a death mystique stage expert to ashes. Inside the barrier, Mu Lingshan stopped her frantic actions, staring in shock at the silhouette emerging from the flames. The entire Thunder Realm fell into a stunned silence. The only sound was the soft echo of footsteps as the figure walked through the fire. As the figure became clearer, it fully appeared before the three of them. Only then did they notice that a crimson barrier surrounded Lin Dong's body. At the center of this protective shield floated a small, palm-sized, crimson ancient token, exuding a powerful energy identical to that of the flame Ancestral Talisman. That ancient token, it can actually defend against the flame Ancestral Talisman's attack? Thunder Emperor exclaimed in surprise at the sight. Mo Luo's face darkened, his gaze fixated on the palm-sized crimson token. He could feel that the flame Ancestral Talisman within him had started to emit an unusual hum the moment the token appeared. Lin Dong finally stepped out of the fire, the crimson shield around him slowly dissipating. He extended his hand, and the crimson ancient token fell into his palm. Then, he lifted his head, offering Mo Luo, whose expression had stiffened, a slight smile. Senior Mo Luo, I've won. Crimson flames continued to burn in the space around him, illuminating Lin Dong's youthful face. Despite the blood at the corner of his mouth, his expression radiated a commanding presence that stirred those watching. What is that? Mo Luo's voice was hoarse, his eyes glued to the crimson token in Lin Dong's hand. It took a while before he could speak. Clearly, Mo Luo was struggling to come to terms with the fact that the flame Ancestral Talisman's power had been rendered ineffective against Lin Dong. Even the Thunder Emperor was momentarily dumbfounded, never imagining that Mo Luo's strongest power would fail against Lin Dong. Not even the devouring Ancestral Talisman could achieve such a result. Lin Dong raised the crimson token in his hand. This is the Flame God ancient token I obtained from the slumbering space of the Flame Lord. As the Flame Lord was the first master of the Flame Ancestral Talisman, this token naturally possesses the same power. That's why I was able to remain unscathed under Mo Luo's strongest attack. The Flame God Ancient Token, a relic of the Flame Lord. Mo Luo's tightly furrowed brows slowly relaxed. He shook his head helplessly. Though he had mastered the Flame Ancestral Talisman with great proficiency, it was clear that compared to the Flame Lord, a peak existence from ancient times, he still fell short. This Flame God Ancient Token only shields me from the Flame Ancestral Talisman's attacks. Had you, Senior Mo Luo, used only the strength of your revolution stage instead of the talisman, I wouldn't have been able to withstand your third strike, Lin Dong said with a smile. His words weren't false. He had exhausted all his trump cards, and the only thing he could rely on was the Flame God Ancient Token. Its effectiveness, however, required Mo Luo to activate the Flame Ancestral Talisman. In a way, this had been a gamble. But luckily for Lin Dong, he won. Mo Luo, reluctant to surrender the Thunder Ancestral Talisman, had resorted to his most powerful weapon. Yet, who could have predicted that this ultimate power would have no effect on Lin Dong? TSK, what a remarkable young man. Mo Luo, you actually lost. The Thunder Emperor couldn't help but praise, astonished by the unexpected outcome. Though it was only a 3-move contest, if word got out, it would undoubtedly make Lin Dong's name resound across the Chaos Demon Sea. Mo Luo was dazed for a moment before he finally sighed, shook his head, and said, "You have indeed won." Upon hearing this, a surge of wild joy erupted in Lin Dong's eyes. The excruciating pain that had been coursing through his body seemed to diminish significantly in that instant. He knew that, given Mo Luo's status and temperament, he wouldn't go back on his word. So, did that mean he had truly won the Thunder Ancestral Talisman from Mo Luo? Mo Luo glanced at Lin Dong's excitement and couldn't help but give a wry smile. Even he hadn't anticipated this outcome. However, Mo Luo looked up at the enormous thunderous sun suspended in the sky, his eyes narrowing slightly. After a brief silence, he said, "The Thunder Ancestral Talisman is yours, but I need to take a portion of its source." A portion of its source? Lin Dong was stunned. What are you planning? If you take part of its source, the Thunder Ancestral Talisman won't be fully complete, said the Thunder Emperor with a furrowed brow. I have my own plans. And in this plan, if I don't have the full Thunder Ancestral Talisman, I at least need a portion of its source power, Mo Luo responded. Why? Lin Dong asked. Because I need it as bait, Mo Luo said flatly. Bait? Lin Dong's eyes sharpened. There are many alien demons lurking in this world, hidden threats that we know very little about. This time, I plan to use the Thunder Ancestral Talisman as bait to lure some of these alien demons out. Of course, since the Thunder Ancestral Talisman now belongs to you, I can only settle for taking part of its source and disguising it as the talisman itself, Mo Luo explained. Lin Dong's expression shifted. He clearly hadn't expected Mo Luo to deliberately lure alien demons. Was he not concerned that the Flame Deity Palace might face the same fate as Thunder Manor? This plan was definitely playing with fire. Qingji will also be involved, Mo Luo said, his gaze fixed on Lin Dong. Senior Qingji? Lin Dong was surprised. You have some nerve, daring to use the Thunder Ancestral Talisman to lure alien demons. The Thunder Emperor's expression grew heavy. Even he was shocked by Mo Luo's boldness. In recent years, the alien demons have been acting more strangely, and it's making me uneasy. This time, I plan to set a trap to lure some of them out. Hopefully, we can gather some useful intelligence, Mo Luo continued. So, since I can't take the full Thunder Ancestral Talisman, I'll have to settle for a part of it. Lin Dong fell silent. After a moment, he softly asked, When will this plan begin? In 3 months. In 3 months, I will go to the Flame Deity Palace as well. I will keep an eye on the Thunder Source. Whether the plan succeeds or fails, I will reclaim it, Lin Dong said firmly. While taking a portion of the Thunder Source wouldn't cripple the Thunder Ancestral Talisman, it would make it imperfect, and Lin Dong clearly wouldn't agree to leave the talisman flawed. Mo Luo hesitated for a moment before nodding. Then I'll trouble Senior Mo Luo to extract the Thunder Source, Lin Dong said, taking a deep breath. Thank you. Mo Luo responded softly. Without further words, his figure flickered and appeared in front of the colossal, thunderous sun. His hands extended, transforming into two massive flaming palms that plunged into the thunderous orb. Rumble. Blinding lightning violently surged within, but after a while, the fiery hands slowly withdrew, revealing a dazzling ball of lightning in Mo Luo's palms. The lightning constantly twisted, faintly morphing into an ancient symbol, radiating a strange energy. This portion of the Ancestral Talisman source can only be extracted when it's in an ownerless state by using the power of another Ancestral Talisman. Overall, losing a portion isn't a major flaw, the Thunder Emperor remarked from the side. Lin Dong nodded slightly and said quietly, "But I will restore it to perfection." High above, after extracting the Thunder source from the Thunder Ancestral Talisman, Mo Luo waved his sleeve, storing it away. His figure then reappeared before Lin Dong. "My goal is accomplished. I won't stay any longer. I hope you can successfully refine the Thunder Ancestral Talisman. If 3 months pass and you don't come to the Flame Deity Palace, it'll likely mean you've failed. In that case, I'll return to take back the Thunder Ancestral Talisman," Mo Luo said, looking at Lin Dong. Lin Dong nodded. He understood the dangers of refining the Thunder Ancestral Talisman. If he failed, it might cost him his life. "Thunder Emperor, farewell." Mo Luo turned to the Thunder Emperor, clasping his fists. "I hope you succeed." Mo Luo's voice was calm but carried an undeniable conviction, so resolute that even Lin Dong was slightly moved. "I will eradicate every last alien demon in this world. Farewell." Mo Luo cupped his hands in a gesture of respect, taking a deep look at Lin Dong. Then, with a turn, he transformed into a streak of fire and sped away, finally tearing through space and vanishing. Lin Dong watched Mo Luo's departing figure, his hands slowly clenching within his sleeve. He could sense that 3 months from now, something monumental was likely to happen in the Chaos Demon Sea. "Little one, enjoy your spoils of war. If you can succeed," the Thunder Emperor smiled, his gaze turning nostalgic as he looked at the immense thunder sun in the sky. "I believe the Thunder Ancestral Talisman will be pleased with its new master." Lin Dong also looked up at the colossal thunder sun, and his eyes gradually filled with resolve. After so many years, he had finally found the second Ancestral Talisman. No matter how arduous the refining process might be, he would not give up. Taking a deep breath, Lin Dong stepped into the void, walking toward the 1,000-foot thunder sun. Under the tense gaze of Mu Lingshan, his figure slowly disappeared into the dazzling radiance. The refining of the Thunder Ancestral Talisman had officially begun. In this chaotic realm, heaven and earth seemed to be shrouded in a primal void. Lin Dong's body floated amidst this chaos, his gaze wandering in slight confusion. After a moment, he clenched his hand and muttered, "This must be inside the Thunder Ancestral Talisman, right?" With this realization, he gradually calmed down. Having refined the devouring Ancestral Talisman before, he knew that to gain the power of an Ancestral Talisman, one first had to earn its recognition. This must be one of those steps. He recalled how, to gain the devouring Ancestral Talisman's recognition, he had endured 6 months of isolation in that desolate darkness before finally finding a way out and earning its approval. Calming his mind, Lin Dong sat cross-legged in midair, watching the evolution of this chaotic world with a steady gaze. Amidst the rising chaos, a vast energy suddenly began to coalesce. In the next moment, a deep, abrupt rumbling broke the silence, echoing through the primordial void. The rumble was faint at first, like the cry of a newborn, curious about this world. Boom, boom. As time passed, the rumbling grew louder, eventually resonating throughout the entire chaotic space. At its source, Lin Dong saw a thread of silver light drifting into existence, radiating an ancient and powerful aura. "So this is the birth of the Thunder Ancestral Talisman," Lin Dong murmured, lost in thought as he observed the thunder energy forming within the chaos. Just as Lin Dong's thought landed, the chaotic realm abruptly changed. The surrounding chaos transformed into a world of thunder. Massive bolts of thunder, as large as dragons, continuously descended from the heavens, the deafening roar shaking Lin Dong's very soul. Staring at this thunder realm that made the thunder realm seem minuscule in comparison, Lin Dong couldn't help but ask inwardly, "Yan, how do I get through this?" Yan's voice was faint and slightly amused as he replied, "Gaining the Thunder Ancestral Talisman's recognition seems a bit painful." "Painful?" Lin Dong asked cautiously. Crack. Before Lin Dong could ask further, a 1,000-foot bolt of thunder ripped through the sky, piercing the void as it hurtled toward him. Horrified, Lin Dong looked up, his eyes filling with silver light. The terrifying speed of the thunder left him no chance to dodge. He could only watch as the massive bolt struck him squarely. Boom. A dull sound echoed as Lin Dong's body was violently thrown back 1,000 feet, blood spraying as thunder energy coursed wildly through his body, trying to drill into him. "Ah!" Lin Dong screamed, unable to contain the searing pain surging through him. His bones felt as if they were shattering under the assault, cold sweat soaking his body. Even with his resilience, the agony was unbearable. The Thunder Ancestral Talisman's nature is dominant. Unlike the unpredictable and sinister devouring Ancestral Talisman, Yin explained nonchalantly. Gaining its recognition is not complicated. Just survive 100,000 strikes. 100,000. Lin Dong's face twisted in shock. Are you kidding me? Just one bolt had nearly destroyed him. You've entered this place. There's no turning back now, so do your best. Yan's calm voice was like a hammer blow, making Lin Dong's face turn pale. There's little I can do to help you here. 100,000 bolts of thunder will strike. Not even a powerhouse at the perfect completion of the death mystique stage could withstand them without being reduced to ashes. But sometimes, a person's will can be stronger than their body. Will is steadfast as a mountain, unyielding through countless trials, becomes the sharpest weapon. Yan's voice grew softer, dwindling until it vanished altogether. Yan, Yan. Lin Dong shouted desperately in his mind, but no answer came. His expression darkened. That guy just left him here? Boom. Before Lin Dong could react, a 1,000-foot bolt of lightning roared down from the heavens, tearing through the air like a vicious thunder dragon. Damn it! He cursed, his face turning green with fury. But before he could say more, the thunderbolt crashed into him, and the deafening crack of thunder drowned out all other sounds. Blood sprayed as Lin Dong's body was torn apart, his skin splitting open and his muscles shredded. The agony was unbearable. You've got to be kidding me. Lin Dong snarled through clenched teeth, his whole body scorched black, hair standing on end. Grinding his teeth, he glared up at the sky and bellowed. Boom, boom. In response to his roar, another thunderbolt crashed down, sending him flying thousands of feet through the air. Bring it on, you bastard. Lin Dong spat through the waves of pain spreading through his body. His bloodshot eyes gleamed with stubbornness, the madness inside him now fully unleashed. Staggering to his feet, he shook with fury and screamed defiantly at the heavens. Boom, boom. The thunderstorm showed no mercy. One lightning strike after another came down with increasing fury, each bolt more terrifying than the last. They pounded relentlessly against Lin Dong's already battered body. You damn thunder! Bring down every bolt you've got! Lin Dong roared. Lightning dragons filled the sky, their fury descending upon the lone, defiant figure below. The crashes of thunder echoed endlessly across the vast expanse of the storm-filled world. Time became meaningless. In the beginning, Lin Dong had tried to count how many times he'd been struck, but as the damage accumulated and the pain blurred his senses, the numbers slipped from his mind. The only thing he could still feel was the agony that spread to every inch of his body and the constant struggle between life and death. Under the storm's relentless assault, his bones shattered, his meridians crumbled, and his body neared its breaking point. Though his consciousness grew hazy, Lin Dong refused to fall. A deep-seated stubbornness gripped him, anchoring him like a stone in a raging river. No matter how the storm tried to crush him, he would not allow himself to break or surrender. My will is unyielding, like a stone beneath the sky. My resolve is as immovable as a mountain. These words echoed endlessly in his heart, becoming the only thing keeping him from slipping into oblivion. His body might be destroyed by the thunder, but his spirit remained untouchable. Above him, the sky raged on. Bolt after bolt continued to rain down. Lin Dong's body had reached the brink of destruction, sitting cross-legged in midair, exposed to the infinite storm with no defense left. Even the primordial energy within his meridians had been entirely depleted. The three divine artifacts hidden in his body remained dormant, retreating deep within his soul, unable to offer him any assistance. With no shield or protection left, Lin Dong faced the storm alone, completely vulnerable. And yet, something extraordinary happened. Despite the state of his ruined body, he did not dissolve into ashes. Some indomitable force within him, his sheer will, anchored him to existence, making him as unyielding as a boulder under a hurricane's fury. No matter how fiercely the storm raged, Lin Dong's spirit refused to be extinguished. Boom, boom, boom. The sky continued to unleash wave after wave of thunderbolts. 1,000 strikes, 5,000 strikes, 10,000 strikes. No one knew how many bolts had fallen, but Lin Dong endured, clinging to life like a lone boat adrift in a raging ocean, tossed about by endless waves, yet never capsized. As time passed, his broken body sat quietly in the void. Though charred and gaunt, faint traces of lightning began to flicker around him. Slowly, his hands formed intricate seals, and an aura of solemnity emerged around him. Hidden within his battered form, there was now a hint of majesty, one that echoed the awe-inspiring presence of the legendary Thunder Emperor. Within the thunder-filled heavens, a colossal lightning bolt, nearly 10,000 feet long, ripped through the sky, descending like a vengeful thunder dragon. It carried the terrifying force of destruction, as if intending to obliterate everything in its path. The bolt crashed down on the frail figure seated in the void. Blinding light erupted, lightning arcs slithering like serpents in every direction, filling the air with crackling bursts. And yet, in the face of this earth-shattering strike, the figure did not move an inch. He sat rooted to the spot, his body like an immovable rock, utterly unaffected by the violent onslaught. Lin Dong's body now appeared extremely withered, his skin even radiating a faint silver glow. He looked eerily similar to the silver corpses of Thunder Manor. Fortunately, though, faint signs of life still lingered within him. Sizzle. Arcs of lightning danced across his body, weaving in and out of his pores. His once black hair had turned silver under the influence of the thunderous energy. Lin Dong was in a strange, unconscious state, fully aware that his physical body was on the verge of collapse. Yet, through sheer willpower, he stubbornly held on, keeping his body together at the brink of destruction. At this extreme threshold, subtle and peculiar transformations seemed to be quietly brewing within him. If one could see inside Lin Dong's body, they would find countless silver lightning threads intertwined with every bone and muscle. This intricate web of thunder held his form together. With every strike of thunder that hit his body, these lightning threads glowed even brighter, reinforcing his fragile frame. In short, Lin Dong seemed to be undergoing some sort of mutation under the relentless bombardment of tens of thousands of thunderbolts. And this change, as time passed, was quietly intensifying. In the unconscious world of thunder, time lost all meaning. Lin Dong had no idea how long he had been in this state. Sometimes it felt like a year, other times like 10 years. His consciousness drifted in a haze, clinging stubbornly to his will. Lin Dong knew all too well that if this last shred of will was erased by the thunder, he would be lost forever, beyond redemption. There was still so much he had to do. He had to grow stronger and return to the Eastern Mystery region. He had to tell that aloof girl, soft at heart, that one day he would become someone she could look up to. He had to tell the lively, elf-like girl that he would protect her innocent, carefree smile. He had to tell the girl who worried about his struggles that his shoulders were strong enough to bear anything for her. That's why he couldn't die. A roar of defiance suddenly echoed in the depths of Lin Dong's mind. His hazy consciousness trembled, and a ray of sunlight pierced through the thick clouds, shining upon his weary soul. Swish! In that moment, Lin Dong's long-closed eyes snapped open. A dazzling flash of thunder burst from his gaze, accompanied by the rumble of thunderclaps. 99,999 bolts. His consciousness fully returned. Lin Dong jerked his head upward. His eyes, still flickering with lightning, stared at the stormy sky as he let out a wild howl. Bring down the last one. Boom. As if in response to his roar, the sky above began to churn, and soon, a colossal bolt of thunder, thousands of feet long, began to take shape. Roar. A deafening dragon's roar suddenly echoed through the heavens. The massive bolt of lightning morphed into a thunder dragon. Its enormous body coiled in the air. Its vast thunderous eyes locked onto Lin Dong below, exuding a presence so terrifying it could freeze one's soul. Yet, Lin Dong showed no fear. He met the thunder dragon's gaze, and after a brief moment, a manic smile crept onto his lips. He slowly spread his arms wide, as if welcoming the final bolt of heaven's wrath. Boom! The thunder dragon sensed Lin Dong's provocation, and its enormous body erupted with wild arcs of electricity. It roared and plummeted downward. Boom! 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 The world trembled as the thunder dragon surged forth, its power near enough to destroy everything in its path. Lin Dong spread his hands, and the crazed grin on his face deepened. The enormous dragon, casting a massive shadow, finally crashed down like a meteor, striking Lin Dong's undefended body. Thud! A dull sound echoed across the heavens and earth. In that instant of impact, Lin Dong's body shattered, blood splattering everywhere, leaving not even bones behind. The thunder dragon roared as it passed, only dissipating when it touched the ground. The dragon's energy scattered back into the heavens, leaving only a drifting cloud of blood mist behind. The blood mist hovered in the sky for an indeterminate amount of time. Then, suddenly, flickers of lightning appeared within it. Silver threads of lightning began to manifest, rapidly spreading, and the mist started to shrink, flowing into the outline formed by the lightning threads. Flesh and blood began to reform in a strange process. The figure standing there looked exactly like Lin Dong, yet an indescribable sense of authority quietly emanated from him, akin to the awe-inspiring force of thunder itself. Lin Dong lowered his gaze, looking at the body that had been forged by the power of 100,000 bolts of thunder. A flicker of confusion passed through his eyes before his hands slowly clenched into fists. Boom! As his fists tightened, a terrifying power surged from within his body like a wild beast unleashed. This force was more savage and domineering than anything he had experienced before. It felt boundless. Lin Dong raised his head, gazing at the thunder crackling through the heavens. The once fearsome energy of the lightning no longer intimidated him. On the contrary, he now felt a strange sense of closeness to it. His eyes flickered with traces of lightning, and then, slowly, he extended his hand toward a bolt of thunder descending in front of him. Sizzle! When the thunder struck Lin Dong's hand, it caused him no harm. The once wild and unruly energy now seemed as tame as a lamb, calmly coiling around his palm. Lin Dong looked at the quiet bolt of thunder wrapped around his hand, and a faint smile appeared at the corners of his lips. Then, he lifted his gaze toward the thunder-filled sky. Buzz! The thunder above began to ripple, forming a massive vortex. From the center of the vortex, a brilliant bolt of lightning shot downward. At its core, an ancient rune descended, slowly appearing before Lin Dong. As he gazed at the ancient thunder rune before him, the excitement and joy in his eyes could no longer be contained. A deep, uninhibited laughter echoed through the world, accompanied by the crackling thunder.